Okay, this is just intended to be a quick review of log properties that you learned last year in Honors Algebra 2. So I'm going to just review how to expand and condense using the properties and then do a couple of examples, like substitution evaluation examples. Okay, so these first two examples, A and B, from your notes, say use the properties of logarithms to condense each expression to a single logarithm. Okay, so if you remember, let me change my color here. This guy, this 2, is really an exponent. Swings back out here to be an exponent. And this 1/2 is also an exponent. But instead of writing to the 1/2 power, usually we're going to write that as a square root. Right, so I'm going to rewrite this for right now, step 1, as the log base b of x squared plus log base b of the square root of x plus 4. Right, and now we have this plus sign here, and if you remember that the sum of two logs is the same as the product of the arguments. Right, so we can rewrite this guy as log base b of x squared times x plus 4, and that's all we can do. So the idea of condensing is that you only actually want to see the log one time, right? So the log of a product is the same as the sum of the two logs, right? So that's that property there. All right, example B, we see our multiplication, those exponents that have swung out front when this was expanded. So we're going to swing them right back and apply them as exponents. Right, so this is going to look like the log base b of x plus 2 to the 4th power minus log base b of x minus 5 to the 3rd power. And this subtraction sign here, remember the property that says that the quotient of the log of a quotient is the same as the difference of the logs of the two things that we're dividing. So we can condense this a little further and have the log base b of x plus 2 to the 4th over x minus 5 to the 3rd. And we're done. All right, so here are a couple of examples. We're going to do the opposite of what we were doing before. So this is the log in condensed form, and we're going to expand it. So here we see the log. To start, we have the log of a product, right? And we know we can expand that by writing that as the sum of two logs. And then this exponent here, before it was multiplied out front and we swung it back, this exponent now is going to come out front as a multiplier, and we can finish the expansion here. And we're done with that one. All right, this one over here is a little bit more involved because we have not only the log of a product, but it's also the log of a quotient. Okay, so we'll expand it step by step. I'll start with the product that's up top. Log base b of x squared plus log base b of the square root of y. And then the z to the 5th is down in our denominator, so that's our quotient, right? So it's really the quotient of this whole thing, this x squared square root of y divided by z to the 5th. So the z to the 5th, we're going to subtract log base b of z to the 5th. And now we're going to deal with these exponents. These exponents are going to swing around front based on our power property. And recall that this square root is really just an exponent that's also going to swing around front. And the final expansion looks like this: 2 log base b of x plus 1/2 log base b of y minus 5 log base b of z. Just one thing to point out, and this is not one of the examples, if I'll just kind of create an additional example, like a D.5 example. Let's say we had like log base b, and we changed this up a bit. We had x squared over the square root of y z to the 5th. Those are separate. The square root is not over the z to the 5th. Just keep in mind that when we expand this entire denominator, right, is part of our quotient, right? So we're going to actually subtract log base b of x squared minus log base b of square root of y z to the 5th, and then we can expand this product, log base b of x squared minus log base b square root of y plus log base b z to the 5th, and then this is going to distribute. Okay, something just to keep in mind. And some of you are probably at the point, or you remember being at the point last year where you see this and you say, okay, I know that this is like a subtract situation. And then again, these exponents are going to come out front and everything. I won't finish the expansion, but I just wanted to kind of point that out, that when you have a product in the denominator, don't forget that negative gets distributed. All right, I like these kinds of problems. These are the problems that give you, that give you a value. So in this case, log base b of 3, I'm telling you, is 0.562. Log base b of 2 is 0.256. Log base b of 7 is 0.872. So I'm giving you the values for each of these logs, and then I give you some problems here that I'm not asking you to find the log base b of any one of these things, but in some way, right, we're going to be able to take this 18 and make 18 out of the logs that we have, right? Or like, so for example, 18, we can rewrite 18 as 3 squared times 2, right? Because that's 9 times 2. So I could take log base b of 3 squared times 2 and then use my properties to expand this. Log base b, I'll do it step by step for those of you that need it, the refresher. Log base b of 2. Okay, and so now I see I have log base b of 2, which I already know is 0.256. I'm not quite there on this guy. I've got to swing this 2 out front. So I can write 2 log base b of 3 plus log base b of 2. And now I can do a substitution. Right, I know log base b of 3 is 0.562, so this is 2 times 0.562. And I know log base b of 2 is given as 0.256. So I can add 0.256 to that, and then I can grab my calculator and get that log base b of 18 is approximately, should have done approximately, equal to 1.38. Really, all these little equal signs up here really should be approximately equal to, because these are rounded decimals. Although I suppose it's log base b, we really don't know what the base is. But anyhow, moving on. This square root of 28. So we want to think, how can we write 28 with either 3, 2, or 7, some combination of 3, 2, and 7. And I think you all know that 4 times 7 is 28. So I could rewrite 4 as 2 squared. So I can rewrite this problem as log base b of the square root of 2 squared times 7. And now again, use my properties. This square root is going to come out front as a half. Log base b of 2 squared times 7. And now we have to be careful because this half is going to be applied to all of this. This is the log of a product that we can write as the sum of 2 logs, but this half really is going to be multiplied by our entire sum, right? So log base b of 2 squared plus log base b of 7. The 2 is going to swing out front, so I'm going to have half 2 log base b of 2 plus log base b of 7. The half of the 2 are going to cancel, but then we're still going to have to apply the half to the log base b of 7. So you could simplify this any way you want, but I'll just leave it for now. The half times 2 log base b of 2 I could substitute with 0.256 because that's given. Log base b of 7 I could substitute with 0.872. That is also given. And then I could grab my calculator and find that this is approximately 0.692. And then finally, log base b of 3b squared. Right, I can expand this. This is the log of a product, so I can expand this. Log base b of 3 plus log base b of b squared. Right, log base b of 3 we have a substitution for is 0.562, and hopefully you see that the log base b of b squared is just going to be 2. If you're not so sure about that, keep in mind that this 2 technically swings out front. That's our power property. And then the log base b of b is just 1, right? So if you recall, we do have a property, the log base n of any number n of the same number is always going to be 1. So that's a property that we have. Oops. That's a property that we have. So log base b of b is 1 times 2 is 2. So overall, this is going to give us 2.562. Right. So again, with these problems, anytime I give you something like this, you're just trying to figure out how can I create this number. Well, in this case, we didn't have to, but in the 18 and the square root of 28 situations, how can I create this number out of the logs that I am already given?